Hey everybody, we are here today with September Dorman. Now, if you all just tap into her for about a half a second, you are going to love her as much as I do. She's an amazing person. Her just energy and her love and her authenticity is grand. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, September, that I admire about you the very most is that you are absolutely real. And, I mean, you could be walking around right now with ego galore and pompous this and pompous that and princess. We all like to be princessed. Me. But, you don't. You've managed to stay humbled and just real with who you are.
Yeah, there's really not a need into being pompous or to being something that you're not. Status or finances doesn't make a person. They think a lot of times people think that's what makes them, but it's really not. It's just staying genuine to who you really are, so that you can be more of a service to other people, so that you can help them on another level, on a deeper level, just by staying real.
So, have you ever been in a point in your life where you weren't real, where you put on a facade and where you hid?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
You want to share that story?
Yeah. It was right after I had my first son. He's 11 now. And I felt like I needed to be this mom. I was very young. I was 19 when I had my son. And I felt like I needed to be this woman that I wasn't. I wasn't a woman at that time. I just had a kid, and I thought that
You're like, how'd this happen?
Right.
You're still confused.
How did this happen again? Where did it go wrong? So it was, I felt like I needed to prove to other people. And then later I found out I have nothing to prove to anybody. If I'm just who I am from the core inside out, then people get you on such a deeper level, and you can build stronger, longer lasting friendships and relationships that way.
So what did it take for you to get down to that core level? I mean, how many times did you have to ask yourself, who am I? What am I about? Or what was your process of going through the layers and even realizing that there was more in there and tapping into it than what you were actually being?
Well, first, and I don't know too many people that would admit, but I had a lot of anger. I had to get through my anger layer. I was very angry because I wanted to be somebody that I wasn't. And I wanted to be this perfect mom or this perfect wife or this perfect image. And I wasn't. That's not who I am. And so I was very angry about that with myself. And then I did a lot of searching inside myself. What is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What do I want out of life? What do I want out of myself? What do I expect out of myself? And so by being somebody, by wanting to be somebody that you're not, you have these delusional thoughts of these expectations that you need to have for yourself. And it's really just about connecting with you and connecting with your dreams and your desires and your emotions and your anger and your frustrations and your fears and your joys and your happiness and all these things that you normally go through on a day-to-day basis. You just have to connect with them, acknowledge them, and then go, okay, now what can I do with them? So it's just a lot of asking that I had done myself, and a lot of praying,
A couple things here that have triggered for me is you questioned yourself.
Yes.
You questioned, everything. You started questioning the foods that you like. You started questioning books that you read. Do I really like to read books? No. I'm a magazine girl. I'll be the first to admit it, And really, when you start tapping into your own questions and asking yourself, who am I? With everything, then it starts, getting the layers down. And
That's
then
right.
once you ask yourself, who am I? And you've gotten through that later, go, okay, great. Who is that person who just said, who am I?
That's right.
And then you dig down even more.
That's right. And I'm so happy that you chose to use it in that metaphor of digging deeper and going deeper. A lot of times when I'm working with my clients, they'll say, well, I'm pissed off, or I'm frustrated, or I'm angry, or whatever it is. I go, okay, that's surface. But what's underneath of that?
Right. So tell me why you're angry. What is the emotion that you are feeling right now that's attached with why you're upset?
Right.
And then go and say, okay, why am I feeling this emotion?
Right.
And then say, okay, well, why did that trigger me to
So
feel
it's
this
the why
emotion?
game,
It
which
really is.
I tell my clients all the time, let's play the why game.
Let's play the why game.
And so if you can ask yourself why 15 times, a lot of times we can get down to the core, and it's usually in the belly of how do you really feel. Because a lot of times surfaces in the mind. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. That's mind. That's your thought. That's your first initial reaction that you have. And then you go down and you go into, well, I feel this way.
Right.
Well, then I feel this
I'm
way.
stuck here.
And then I feel this way. And so the key is to get down into the gut of you. How do you really feel about this?
Right.
where does it stem from? Where do you remember this first emotion coming up? And it's really getting down into the core of how you really feel and peeling back the layers.
Absolutely.
You got to peel them back.
You got to peel them back. A question that got me to the place that I'm at is, whose idea of perfection am I still trying to live up to?
Absolutely. Oh, that's absolutely right.
And
Whose idea of perfection? Because it was a perfection, an image, this delusional image of I have to
what
be
perfection
somebody.
is.
That's right. Because you see a woman on TV or in a magazine, you think, oh, she's so perfect
How
and
pretty she
beautiful. I want to be
is.
just like her. I bet she has no problems. And then you find out she's just as real and just as human as you and I are. And her problems are probably bigger and worse than mine are. So who cares? We all have issues. We all have, but they're not. The key to it is not looking at it as an issue, but looking at it as a beautiful gift. What is the gift in this? How can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? And when we can look at it from how do I learn or how do I grow from it or what is the gift, then that event tends to stop reoccurring, because a lot of times the same thing tends to come up in our life. Why does this keep happening to me? I hear that a lot. Why
You
does
didn't
this
learn
keep
from it.
Exactly. You didn't find the gift or
Yep.
you didn't learn from it. So what is the gift or what can you learn from it and grow?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then the third step actually is taking action. Being aware of it is not enough.
That's right.
I mean, yes, it may trigger something
Sure.
inside of you, but then you take the action. So the next time that comes up, you don't do the same detrimental pattern. You
That's
don't
right.
make the same choice.
But then there's some people that don't need to have that extra stress of you need to take action, you need to take shot. To them, that's stressful. Just by acknowledging it, like you had said, it triggers something. As soon as we all just want to be acknowledged. Man or woman, child, it doesn't matter. We all just want to be acknowledged. And we want to be validated. And as soon as we can validate and acknowledge our feelings, it's amazing the chain reaction that happens after that. The universe then begins to deliver opportunities our way. And then we can take the opportunity and we can go with it. But a lot of times people do sit and let the opportunities pass them by because of the fears that they have.
Well, just the simple fact of someone, being aware, that's an action that they took.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it naively happens.
That's
An
right.
action is, once you have an awareness, great, pat yourself on the back.
Right.
You just took an action.
Exactly.
And then pat yourself on the back again for going, wow, I just took another action.
Right, exactly.
So constantly, whether you think, that you are or not, you're taking action. So anyone that puts pressure on themselves to take an action, well, in my opinion, what's really happening is the fear of what's going to happen if they move forward.
That's right.
And then they go, ooh, that's pressure. I don't want to do that. Well, you already did.
Right.
You already took an action, even if you didn't want to.
Yep.
So own it and move on.
There was I was talking to my husband, Bernie, about a lot of times people, I was given this scenario, I was in meditation and I was shown this picture of if you're escaping a volcano and you know what's behind you because you've been there and you're taking your steps to get away from this eruption. People tend to be afraid of that next step because they don't know what's ahead of them. They know what's behind them, and a lot of times people revert and go back because
it's
they
what
know
they
what's
know.
there.
They
Exactly.
know.
They know what's there. They know what to
It's
expect.
confirmation.
And it's comfortable.
Yeah.
They didn't like it, but they know it was there. So a lot of times people don't take those steps forward because they're afraid of what's ahead of them. But
The
when they
what
get
if
there-
is scarier
Exactly.
than what they went through.
That's right.
And that is
Absolutely.
sad.
It is. It is sad, but there's also a beautiful gift in that as well. And the key is, what is the gift in that?
Right.
Why am I doing this to myself? What am I afraid of? What am I holding back? And a lot of times when they ask, what is it that I'm afraid of? The answer is myself. I'm so afraid of the power that's inside of me. I'm so afraid of the gift that I have for people. And so they're afraid of acknowledging that because then they have to be responsible. And they have to go forward and make those changes
So
and
yep,
make those steps.
I did that,
Absolutely.
and owning
I did
it.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all done it. We've all done it. But now we can look back and go, look where we've been. I'm so grateful that I'm here now. Look where I've been. Look how far I've come. And then other people will take it and go, I know it's back there. I'm really safe and secure back there, so I'm going to stay right where it's safe and not move forward, which is can be really sad.